Alrighty guys, I got it cleaned up a little bit. It's not perfect, but it'll do for what we need here. So what I've done already is I have removed the sensor, which if you just take, what is this? It's a T20 screw. Take that screw out, the sensor will come out. Just be careful with it because you have to get around the plate a little bit. Disconnect the connector, and then you're left with your locker position sensor. And then this is the sensor that you drill a few holes in it to pot. Again, there's that other write-up for that, but you can see all the fluid with a bunch of metal in it, right? And that's because the piece that does the actual that tells the Hall effect sensor what position this plate is in is actually a magnet. So it attracts every bit of, as you can see, it's a magnet. Every bit of metal in the fluid. It actually does a better job than the drain plug magnet, which is really, I don't know if it's good or not, but you could spend some time and clean this off too through this process, but I'm going to wait to clean it completely once we get it off. And again, this sensor here will get potted a little later. So the clamshell removal tool costs, I don't know, $200-300 depending on where you buy it and if it's Chinese or not, or whether it's the cheap one or not. The clamshell puller, look at these. This is one of the clamshells. You'll see how thick it is. You can see the cutout here, and then these two pieces go together around the bearing, and then you put a collar around it, and then you use a tool to basically draw this up. The issue with these clamshell pullers is that they're so thick, right? So it will not go underneath this bearing. You cannot get it. You can't even get it underneath the race to pull up on the race on the smaller bearing. That's what the red one's got a smaller hole than the blue one does. And here's the blue clamshell, and it's the same thing. You can see how thick this cross section is right here. It just doesn't fit, right? So before you spend all the money on a clamshell puller thinking that it's going to help you with this job, it's just not going to help you. There might be some more specific differential tools out there. Dana may actually sell something specific. I need to look that up myself, because if they do sell it, I will buy the specific tools for these bearings. But I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't have all these tools. And sometimes I actually prefer to do it this way because I don't know, it's pretty easy. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take a pair of dikes or cutters, wire cutters. Make sure they're heavy duty, because you got to cut this cage off. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut here, and we're going to cut here, and then we're going to peel this apart and pull all these bearings out. So let's do that. So there's one cut. We'll get underneath here and do this other one here. A lot less room to get the bottom one, but you can get it. Just takes a few tries. Let's peel this open first here. Get this guy out. Trying to make it easy on myself. It's a nice day today. Good day for this. All right, so we'll take that guy out, make it easy on ourselves, and just cut the cage there. So now that you've cut the cage, both sides, just peel it open. Just be careful not to cut your hand with the material that's left. You just peel it just a little bit, just enough, and then just take the cage off. So now we've removed the cage. It's obviously trash. All these little pieces, they look like they're fun to play with, but they're also trash. All right, so we got all these, and they go right into the garbage. That way you don't have stuff laying all over your work table. Clean it again. Now to get the rest of this race off of here, naturally it's pressed on there. So all of this metal material is under tension right now, which is to our benefit for getting this off of here. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cover this locker with a rag, but I'm gonna take my Dremel and I'm gonna cut at an angle like this. Right, and you wanna cut through about 80 or 90% of the material. You obviously don't wanna cut deep enough to hit the differential itself, the carrier itself, but you wanna cut at an angle with your Dremel or a die grinder, or preferably something with a smaller blade. That's why I use a Dremel. The standard die grinder blade is too big. And you'll end up hitting the locker, the magnet. And then once we get through 80 or 90% of the material, then you take a chisel, put it in the middle there, smack it once or twice with a sledgehammer, and it basically just cracks the bearing, and then you can just pull it off by hand. Now there are special tools to pull bearings off after you get the cage off. There's ways to grab the top of this and basically pull it off the carrier this way, but we're gonna do the cut and chisel method. I actually like doing it. It's never failed me. Just make sure you cover everything up, and then that way you're not creating more problems than you're fixing. So let me get that cut off, and we'll go from there.